It was that kind of night. You know, the type that's like the daytime, only darker. Yeah, no, it's not funny like that. But right, cold and wet. Area 225. Cold and wet. Why does it keep not putting? Oh, yeah. Okay. Speaking of cold and wet, look at that. It's raining. Okay, that's all we get, right? Yeah. All right. So 15 minutes. 15 minutes. It's very much still a. I don't know. I guess this might ruin it, but it's very much still a. Hey, we're gonna try to find clues to figure out who done it, but then we're gonna have to fight. Like there's still it's still a combat thing, but most of it's trying to put together. You know, where should we be going to get in this fight with the big bad thing? It has to be a bit of suspension of disbelief. Like you as the player might know where you're supposed to go, but you have to make sure you're paying attention to what your character knows. That's that kind of thing. It's just for fun. I was thinking of it as like a charity one shot. Yeah, something like that. Lurking right. That's why I haven't finished. Like I know the general way I want the character, the office character, to start things off. Um, but I need to make sure it's themed correctly for Dungeons and Dragons. Right? Oh, all right. You probably had buttered on both sides of the name. What? That's great. Yeah, that's the thing is I got to do a lot. I got to do some research and get some really good, film noir detective, you know, type stuff, just to have the random comments and things that are just like that would catch people off guard like that, right? I'm also very tempted to like if I stream it, have it to stream it as like a black and white, like try to get a black and white filter. I think that would be hilarious. I think it would just make it fun. Basically, borrow the dramatic lines from Roger Rabbit. I really should. I really should just like watch Roger Rabbit again and try to just pull anything out that Roger Rabbit and because people would remember Roger Rabbit, but then you got to follow it up with getting lines from Cool World because nobody would remember those. That would require me having to watch Cool World again, which that's slightly punishing. I don't even know. It looks like that's like, oh no. Okay, there's more. Oh, you have to pay for it on most places. Really? People charge for Cool World? Oh, I don't know that that's worth it. It's only like $4, but I still think that might be too expensive. That might be too expensive. Oh, jeez. See, now I'm looking at pictures from movies like that. Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great. It'd be great. No. I don't know. Maybe I'll try. I really want to finish that and do it at some point this year. Maybe I try to make sure it's done for like Extra Life or something. I mean, that's what, October-ish? October, November. Who framed it? Would be Who Framed Harry Harrigan? We wouldn't even get too far away. No, that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. But well, we could. Oh my god, I totally could. I totally could add like, this person says they're framed. They've been framed, and it's Harry Harrigan. But no, I've got a name for it already. I've got a name for it already. But the thing is, that's kind of part of the problem is the name. The name I have kind of gives away. So maybe we would have to call it. No, I just like the other one better. I don't know. We'll see. But that is funny. Who Framed Harry Harrigan? Would a Strahd campaign go full Count Duckula? Sure, if you wanted to. What is a one shot? Basically, it's like instead of. So in Dungeons and Dragons, usually you create a character, and your dungeon master takes you on a campaign, like we have in this game, where you're doing lots and lots of stuff, and your characters grow and develop over time, and they can go for years. You play like once a week, your campaign might last years. Whereas a one shot is usually you sit down and you play it all at once. And it could be anywhere, and depending on how long of a one shot you've agreed upon, it could be 2 hours, it could be 8 hours, right? So one shot usually means you sit down at the table and you're just playing a little concentrated story and you're done. Little concentrated story and you're done. Like I have what I called a one shot. I was really hoping it would be 2 to 3 hours, and it ended up being between 5 and 6. Now, when I tested it with my first group, I was like, well, it's going to be 2 to 3 hours. And then it went over 5 hours, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, we were having a blast, but it was late, and I felt really bad. So then I made changes to test it with another group, trimmed some things down, changed some stuff to try to make it faster and more focused. It still went 5.5 hours. And so then I streamlined it a little more, and then I ran it again, and it still went a little over 5 hours. So what I learned is that story that I want to tell, if I want to give my players any room at all to have conversations and to role play amongst themselves along the way, it takes between 5 and 6 hours. I learned that. So it's only a one shot if we're sitting down and playing all at once. I could probably break it up into 2 or 3 episodes if I were going to stream it, if we were going to do a shorter thing. But yeah, that was rough. But I did learn. That was the first time I'd ever written my own adventure. It was the first time I'd ever DM'd, was DMing my own content. And I just learned, okay, this was too much. This was too much for a one shot. It's just too much going on. I mean, well, for a 2 to 3 hour one shot. So the detective one that I have, like the mystery, I've really tried to thin it. Just real thin it, make it real thin, to allow for role play and fun, but hit the delivery, in the 2 to 3 hour mark. I don't know if I've succeeded. Do it like that to lull people into false sense of security, make them think it's just Roger Rabbit, and then there's a twist. Yeah, we could. Common denominators, there's me. Oh, it absolutely is, because there were things I'm like, this is part of the story. I can't cut this out. This has to be there. But I trimmed a lot off the beginning, or what I felt would be a lot off the beginning, and the beginning moved quicker. And what I found is then, and I trimmed I changed the end based off other feedback. And then what I found out is, sure, if I save time at the beginning, people then have a lot of roleplay stuff that they want to do in the middle. And then the end is still a good chunk. So yeah, there's no racing through that one. I just accepted that. Okay, I just need to. I have learned that this story I want to tell takes 5 to 6 hours. I don't have to try to fit it into a smaller box. I just underestimated how long it was going to take because I'd never done it before. I mean, yeah, you could do 2 3-hour episodes. I think you'd have to make it 3 hours if you were to do 2 parts. I think that's probably the easier way to split it up, in all honesty. Well, but actually, I think it actually would probably be, no, I think it actually would be better to do 3 2-hour episodes. Trying to think of like how the beginning works, how the middle works, how the end works. It'd probably be 3 2-hour episodes. But I could probably make it work in 2 3-hour episodes. No, this is for the first one I did. The one that I'm doing for the mystery one, I just want it done. I want it in and out. And I know enough now how to make sure that how to encourage people along the storyline path. Or at least to encourage them to get to the end. And then, and how to adjust the end to accommodate for, time. Whatever time we need to accommodate for. 181. Oh, yeah, we don't. We're going to run out. I'm not going to spend another one on that. But yeah, I think the Who Framed Harry Herringun is probably a good way to give people an idea of what's going on. It is kind of humorous. It is detective. There is a mystery to solve. But, definitely keep them away from the end result. All right, Lydiath, thanks for hanging out. Have a good weekend. Okay, so if we finish Cold and Wet, we'll only have one more here on the Sword Coast to do, Madcap Adventures. Then we drop back into Avernus for a Difficult Descent and Dream Gauntlet. So we'll when we finish this, we'll have only 3 variants to go before we unlock Rhea, which means we should be able to unlock Rhea, do Rhea's stuff on Monday. That was faster than I expected. Helps that we were going to the smaller area goals. I'll mark here that that's where we're going next. These are the ones we still have to do. I think. Go over here and we click on Rhea. He's here. Yeah, 36. We've got 36. This will be 37. We'll only need 3 more. Excellent. Oh wait, there's a topic to these streams? I mean, look, it's called Idle Chatter for a reason. Did I turn the music on? Oh, no. I must have hit mute. For an Icewind Dale, do you need to go to get the Evergreen? Yes. I think it's a variant off the last node, or this. It's either the last node or the second to last node. I think it's off the last node. So yeah, all the way. Icewind Dale, it was still that whole. You need to get like all the way. They were still in the idea of you got to get all the way through this before we're giving you an Evergreen. Whereas later on or we're going to have the Evergreen be off the last adventure node. Whereas lately they've switched, like with Blushi and Crux, they've put the variant somewhere in the middle.